Hi there and welcome to the August 2020 product update for iplicit. So in today's video we're going to be taking a look at how to check your version, where you can find the release notes, and we'll be taking a quick look at some of the new features within this month's release. Firstly, you can check what version of iplicit you're running by clicking on the pulse, and the version number will appear at the bottom of your screen. To find the release notes for both the current and prior months, head to the iplicit support center. So now we're going to take a look at some of the highlights for this month's release. You can now create and manage direct debit instructions in iplicit, producing files for your bank or direct debit processing software. This release sees the first deliverables for our new document automation tools. We have added support to import bank statement transactions for multiple bank accounts at once. We'll also take a look at some of the changes made to our Excel functions. There's a new 21% standard tax rate that's been included for our Irish customers. We are constantly working on our online help, and in addition to new sections, we are now embedding this help as quick links from the finders and editors. We have increased flexibility over the year-end rollover process, and we'll be covering a multitude of changes made to authorization workflows. And finally, we'll take a look at some of the support for the creation of user-defined menu options. So the first thing we're going to do is take a look at the new direct debit feature. On screen, we'll be showing the creation of a direct debit customer alongside the creation of a new direct debit instruction. So you can now create and manage direct debit instructions in iplicit, producing files for your bank or direct debit processing software. This allows us to create new direct debit instructions, as well as giving us the ability to cancel existing direct debit instructions as well. We can produce email communications and reports to support this process. These communications will notify customers of new or cancelled instructions. To complement the handling of direct debit instructions, this release also includes batch receipts handling for direct debit collections. Direct debit batch receipts enable the creation of collection files for your bank or direct debit processing software for customers with active direct debit instructions. We can use email communications and reports to support this process again, notifying customers of any pending collections. On screen, you would have seen the typical process in setting up a new direct debit customer and what that would look like with the new direct debit instructions. Okay, so moving on, we're now going to take a look at our new feature, document automation. So this release sees the first deliverables for our new document automation tools. You will now be able to create intercompany sales invoices to legal entity B from legal entity A, and this tool will automatically create a related purchase invoice document in legal entity B, and the same is available for intercompany purchase to sell invoices as well. You can actually access these related documents through the new links button found at the top right of the screen. And you can see the setup of these document automations within the new finders. So within the document automations, you will be able to set whether you would like to have the related document automatically create upon creating it as a draft or creating it for submission. And within this feature, you also have the ability to have the linked documents automatically reverse or abandon if you were to reverse or abandon the originally linked document. So look out for additional related features in the future releases, which will include intercompany cashbook movements, automated accruals, prepayments, deferred income, cross-charging, and more. So the next feature we're going to take a look at is the bank statement import for multiple bank accounts. We have added support to import bank statement transactions for multiple bank accounts at once. This includes banks such as Lloyds, HSBC and Barclays, who provide file extracts for their customers whom have multiple bank accounts. So on screen now, I've set up 4 different bank accounts with different account numbers and sort codes. Each bank account has the Barclays multi-statement import, and now when I select the file and click submit, we can see that 4 different bank statements were created, and each statement contains different transaction lines. And what we can do as well is we can have a look at the original import file, and we can see the different transaction lines, and we can see the different account numbers and sort codes. So this is potentially a considerable time saver for customers with high volumes of bank accounts per bank. So now we're going to take a look into some of the changes to the new Excel functions. So we've had some enhancements to all of our standard functions. So if we take a look at our P&L across two legal entities, we're going to look in particular at the sales stock account code. And previously, when passing functions to get the base amount, we were passing the legal entity, period, and account code. What we can now do, still with the same function, is instead of passing a single legal entity, you can now actually enter a range. So now I've entered the range on screen, and what we're going to do is we can compare that to our totals on our P&L. And we can see it's aggregated the legal entities together, so we're getting that 11,300. So now we can pass multiple values into the functions. And one thing to note as well is we can still use that same function, and instead of entering a range or a single legal entity, we can actually use a comma separated list as well, and the same function and the same values will appear. So the next thing we're going to take a look at is the addition on the online help. So now when we load up iplicit, firstly we're just going to look in the quick launch. As usual, you can type in shorthand things. So I've typed in TG and it's loaded up tax groups. And if we go into tax groups and we go on the support center, as well as seeing the normal help links, we can actually see tax groups and tax registrations. And clicking in, it will send us straight to the tax group on the help. And within there, of course, you can click to other links like legal entity and so forth. But it just helps with those embedded links as quick links from different finders and different editors to the relevant help pages. Moving on, we're going to look at some of the enhancements for the year-end rollover. So we've increased the flexibility of the year-end rollover process. This release sees the ability to select the posting attributes that you wish to include in your balance sheet aggregations. So now when you head to Environment Settings, there will be a new option displaying under Periodicity, and this option allows you to select the posting attributes that you would like to appear on your year-end rollover journals. So now if you head to Financial Years, after of course you performed a refresh on your environment settings and then you perform your year-end rollover, you'll see the journal with the relevant posting attributes. Okay, so now we're going to move on and take a look at some of the authorization changes. So I've created a new authorization workflow under purchase invoices with 3 steps within them. And the first thing we're going to demonstrate after submitting this document is how the admin approve step works. So for example, this invoice has headed to John Doe to authorize. However, let's say John Doe was an in. We can, instead of waiting or instead of adding ourselves into the workflow ourselves, we can actually do the admin approve step. Now, this is held by one of the access permissions, and you do have to give a reason as to why you're approving it on behalf of John. And when that's done again, just to demonstrate it once more, I'm going to approve on behalf of Joe Blogs. So this has now hit the next stage of the authorizations. So again, I'm telling them that Joe told me to, and this will appear on the log within the authorizations as well. And finally, I'm going to approve the document. So if we head to that purchase invoice and we refresh, we should see that that has now been posted. Now, I also wanted to demonstrate another invoice so that we could have a look at the restart workflow and restart step stages. So let's say I did make a revision to the workflow or a change to the workflow, and I added in another user that I wanted to be able to authorize, then you can use the resubmit and resubmit step. And all of this is held behind the user role authorizations admin approver. And moving on, the final feature we're going to take a look at today is the user-defined menu options. So we now support the creation of user-defined menu options within iplicit. Simply create a new menu group and then edit the menu structure, and you'll see the results like you can on screen now. So let's recap and go over what we've seen within this month's release. We've seen the introduction to direct debit, the ability to create direct debit instructions and process direct debit files to your bank or to your direct debit processing software. We've had a look at the new document automation, the ability to create intercompany sale invoices and have the intercompany purchases automatically create for the other legal entity. We've had a look at the bank statement import for multiple bank accounts, be this on Barclays bank accounts, HSBC or Lloyds. We've seen the new Excel functions and the functionality behind the original Excel functions being expanded, be that over selecting ranges or comma-separated lists. This month has also seen the release of the 21% standard tax rate for Ireland. We've had a look at the new online help links, the ability to jump from different links given the contextual help links within different binders and editors. We've had a look at the new year-end rollover, the new posting attributes that we can now have set up on the environment settings for when we create those year-end journals. We've had a look at the authorization updates, be that on the admin approve steps or the restart step or resubmit workflow. And finally, we've had a look at how to introduce our own menu options, be that through the menu groups and the menu structures. So thank you for watching the August 2020 iplicit product update. If you like what you've seen and would like to find out more about the system or some of the new features, we do offer bite-sized online training. If you do have any other questions, please don't hesitate to contact our support team at support@iplicit.com. Thank you for watching.